What's up everybody, it's Dom from Lensprotogo and Lens Rentals. It is officially July 2020 and that means the release of the highly anticipated EOS R5 should be dropping any day now. Now just to get you up to speed, a few years back Canon dipped their toes into the mirrorless game with the release of the EOS R, EOS RP, and a line of brand new RF mount lenses. Now the EOS R proved to be an amazing photo camera and a no-brainer for Canon photographers wanting to try a mirrorless system but reluctant to switch over to Sony. Now the EOS R wasn't exactly groundbreaking for video, but with the release of the EOS R5, it really seems like Canon is trying to push the boundaries on what a mirrorless system is capable of. They've marked the R5 as their flagship mirrorless camera and are already boasting it as a game changer for full-frame mirrorless photo and video. There is so much to talk about with this camera, so let's dive in and find out what you should expect from the EOS R5. Okay, so I'm going to start with the photo side of things because to be honest, it doesn't seem like there are going to be a lot of changes made from the original EOS R. We know that the R5 will be capable of 12 frames per second in mechanical shutter and up to 20 frames per second in electronic shutter mode. This is going to be great for sports shooters or anyone shooting fast-moving subjects. Now, the original EOS R was only capable of 8 frames per second mechanically and did not have a silent continuous shooting mode, so we have a big improvement there. We also have an entirely new full-frame CMOS sensor in the EOS R5, but we don't exactly have a pixel count yet. Although the 30 megapixels of the EOS R was probably fine for most photographers, I am curious to see if the EOS R5 will be much higher or around the same. Other than that, we know that the R5 will have the same subject tracking ability and continuous autofocus as the 1DX Mark III. So if you already own the EOS R and use it for mainly photography, I don't think the R5 will be worth the jump unless you need those higher shutter rates or improved autofocus. But keep in mind, not everything about this camera has been released yet, so there might be some photo features that do make it worth the upgrade, so we'll have to see. One thing we do know is that the EOS R5 will have dual media slots. Now for Canon's flagship mirrorless camera, this is pretty much expected. Users of other mirrorless brands have been enjoying their dual card slots for years. But what's notable here is one is an SD card slot and the other slot is for a CF Express card. This is a bold move, but not entirely surprising, as Canon already chose this type of media for the 1DX Mark III. The one downside here though is that currently CF Express cards are pretty pricey, but CF Express technology is super fast. We're talking writing at gigabit speeds, and that's going to be necessary for some of the video specs that we're about to talk about. Okay, it's confirmed that the EOS R5 will be capable of 8K video recording internally, uncropped, as in using the full sensor area. This is a statement in and of itself, as the R5 will be the only camera of its kind to be able to record full frame 8K raw video, the next closest thing being the Red Monstro, which is a $60,000 cinema camera. You can also record in 422 10-bit for some smaller file sizes and still have a lot of room to work with for color grading in post. It's even been revealed that Canon's dual pixel autofocus will be available in 8K and 4K video modes, making it comparable to Canon's high-end cinema cameras like the C300 and the C500. Some may argue that 8K video is a little unnecessary, but Canon seems to think that this is the direction things are going in, and they wanted their flagship mirrorless camera to be ahead of the resolution curve. Personally, I would use 8K video in visual effects and motion tracking, maybe to punch into an interview shot, or anything that I know is going to need a lot of stabilization but still be delivered in 4K. And that is not all for video specs. The most exciting part about this camera for me is 4K recording at 120 frames per second. When you're boasting your own camera as a game changer for mirrorless video, you have to back it up. And for me, Canon basically did that with this one recording mode. I shoot a lot of action sports, so 4K 120 is basically a dream setting for me, and previously I was only able to achieve that on a Red. This has come a long way from the original EOS R, which you had to drop down to 720p to record in 120 frames per second. I have a feeling that this is going to be a feature that draws a lot of professional video creators to buy this camera. It is just too good. Internally stabilized, 422 10-bit, 4K at 120 frames per second, all wrapped up in a small hybrid camera body. Currently, the group of cameras that can shoot 4K 120 is pretty small, and out of the ones that can that are comparable are certainly going to be larger and much more expensive than the R5 will be. Again, it's pretty clear that Canon is trying to make a much larger impression on the video market with the EOS R5 than they were with the original EOS R. If what we've talked about already doesn't have people dying to try out this camera, the last thing I want to talk about from this release is the 5-axis image stabilization, which is the first time we've ever seen this in a Canon camera. The 5-axis IBIS will be available in 8K and 4K video modes and will work in combination with lens stabilization from all RF lenses and most EF lenses, which is huge. I'm curious to see how the IBIS will perform in combination with lens stabilization. The EOS R with just lens stabilization looked pretty good, so I'm expecting really good things with the EOS R5. I am super excited to start shooting on the EOS R5 when it finally comes out, and I'm going to be doing a lot of testing on it. So if you have any questions or if there's anything you want to see in a future video, let me know in the comments section below. I know I'm going to be doing an 8K shootout between the EOS R and an 8K Red, so look out for that video in the weeks to come. And if you liked this video, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more weekly content, and I'll see you in the next one.